Should we talk quickly about Drunkard's Walk? Or as you call it, Friday?
Okay. A day that ends in Y.
If you've listened to it, it's a fun podcast. It's very nicely done.
Well, I would imagine it would be. We don't
consort with riffraff.
No, we only consort with riffraff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no. It's perfect because I feel like everyone has done a version of this show just in real life sitting on the sofa.
Well, yeah.
Yet Matt and Jethro were the two geniuses who were like, this needs to be a podcast, and we could probably drink while we do this.
Kind of funny that we've never drunk while we do this. Like, why did we think of that?
I don't know. It just seems like the American dream is you have a podcast and you get to drink on it.
Right.
So Matt and Jethro walk through Wikipedia, jumping from like link to link, finding topics from listeners, and interview the people who suggest the topic. And yeah, it's a really fun show. They are fun guys to listen to. They just started season 2, yes. So now is the perfect time to catch up.
And learn about Lithuanian book smugglers in episode 13.
All right. Is that a euphemism?
I don't.
Or are they actually smuggling books?
Well, we have to listen to find out. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And new episodes drop every single Tuesday.
Nice.
And you can find the show on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Your iTunes, your Stitcher, your Google, your etc.
We should be on etc.
What? Yeah, we should be. Hey, Heidi, do you want to be president?
Not really. President of what?
Of everything. Of the U.S.?
No, but I probably could do a good job at it.
Well, how about this? Let's put it this way. If you were president, what would you be, what would be sort of the platform you're running on?
Shoes.
Like Bootsy Collins with like goldfish in the heel kind of shoes? Or what are we talking?
Sure.
Okay.
Platform shoes, yes.
Right, no. Yes. No, I got the reference. Thank you.
Puppies and happiness and love for all and love is love and all good things.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. You think that would go over with people?
Probably not. That's why it's a really bad job, and I probably wouldn't get it.
That's true. So we want to tell you about this new card game called If I Was President, which right now seems like a terrible job, but maybe in a few weeks it seems like a much better job. Who knows?
That's true. Hopefully.
I mean, I guess it depends where you're sitting. Either it's a terrible job now or it's a great job now, and then it could all switch in a few weeks.
So how do you play the game? Like, what do you do?
It is a game where you are pitching your platform to your fellow players and you're trying to win an election. So I guess you're just making up stuff and hoping enough people believe you, and then you can just change and do whatever you want once you're in office, I think.
Oh, well, that sounds like life.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if there are lobbyists in this game, because there should be.
Oh, yeah, there probably should be.
Yeah.
And can you pick whatever platform, or is it real stuff?
I would run on kittens and trees, and, you know.
Right, look at that. We'd be like a puppies versus kittens.
I know. I mean, in my mind, it says polling Hegquist, but we could flip that. And the slogan would be hang in there, right?
It would totally be hang in there.
But I think robes for all.
Robes for all is a must.
Like free kittens for anyone who wants one.
And puppies.
And puppies. And then, I don't know, maybe the occasional high five. For more information and to get your 2020 edition of If I Was President, go to ifIWasGame.com.
Y is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
First thing I did when we signed up for Disney Plus was watch The Black Hole.
Oh, I love the
with Ernest Borgnine and Anthony Perkins.
Yes, I love that movie.
You know, yeah, it's great.
The original Tron.
Mm-hmm. There's some great. There's a few 60s and 70s. Like they finally put the moon spinners on there.
Oh, I don't think
Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Haley Mills Eli Wallach in Grease. Do I need to say anything else?
That's basically all you need.
Yeah, it's excellent. And I can't remember who the woman is, but she has a panther. Again, do I need to say anything else?
That's everything.
Yeah, this is...
That's heaven.
Yeah, pretty much. Some great day for night shooting.
Nice.
When they were really, really great at doing it. You know, when just everything's blue and there's shadows everywhere. It's so great. It's so wonderful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, finally that came on. Like, that was when they launched it. Like, I was the one person. Everyone was going, where's Song of the South? I was like, where's Moon Spinners?
No.
Yeah. No, there's some really great... I mean, that's where you get your candle shoes. You get your bed nuts and broomsticks. You get your Kurt Russell oeuvre.
All the Kurt Russell.
What would you call it? The Russell-sance? I don't know what you call it.
I like the Russell-sance. The Russell-sance never ends.
Yeah. That's what we need, a Russell-sance fair.
Oh, we should have a Russell-sance fair.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
Because all of the naked people would come and just hang out and be like, what? We're Kurt and Goldie hanging out at home.
Yeah, the king of the Russell-sance fair has got to have an eye patch, right?
Of course, yes, 100%. Yeah. There's got to be a yacht somewhere.
Definitely yachtage, yeah.
And lots of filthy children running around.
Everyone's got like a 3-day growth of a beard. And yeah, everyone's just kind of snarling at each other.
They give out tango lessons for cash.
There you go, like that.
This is key.
Yeah, let's get Sam on the blower. Get her doing some artwork. Just some conceptual sketches for this. Randy can maybe start scouting locations.
Yes.
And then not German Rachel can just start working on copy for PR.
And then it'll be like was it the Keanu Reeves festival? What was it? There's another film where
there's
to be. So
right.
We'll will it into existence.
I thought you were going to say Gathering of the Juggalos, so I'm glad we took the right turn. It was a hard right to get to Keanu, but the Russell-sance fair.
Yes, the Russell-sance fair is...
I mean, either way, whichever fair you go to, you're eating just a giant turkey leg, let's be honest.
And there's even an opportunity for a Santa. Because he did that Santa, that movie.
Oh, there's just the amount of that world, the Russell-verse, really.
It goes deep.
Right, because then, I mean, really, you can sort of almost as a side, you've got Private Benjamin there, you've got Laugh-In, you know?
Yeah.
This is something...
I like this.
We got to get Annie on the blower, see if she can get some sponsorships, some big name sponsorships. We need like a car or a shoe to really get behind this.
Shouldn't we have a computer and a shoe? Like a bundle.
There you go. Of course, yes.
Right? Like your computer and a shoe bundle.
There's got to be some sort of craft show with Russell-Anya.
Oh, there's got to be some Russell-Anya craft show.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of like
a whole village.
Oh my God, one of those sequins, either purses or shirts where you can kind of flip them.
Yeah.
And one's him smiling and one's him snarling.
Yes.
Something crocheted with him on it.
Ooh.
Oh my God, this is
gold.
Yeah.
I like this plan.
The old creep told you not to get off the road.
What began as a vacation ended as a nightmare.
Why are you doing this? That was a bad mistake.
The hills have eyes. A night of terror. A day of vengeance where no one was spared.
Kill her, babe! Kill me!
They fought back. Anything was a weapon. The family dog to the family car.
It's working!
The story of an American family who lost everything except the will to survive. The hills have eyes. They wanted to see something different, but something different saw them first.
Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
As a NYU graduate myself, it is great to be speaking with a fellow Violet. And it also makes me wish we had a more masculine sounding mascot.
I didn't even know you guys had a mascot, to be honest.
I didn't even know we had one. I was on drugs in those days. When I went to NYU, I not only went to school there, I worked there at number 3 Washington Square North, and
Okay.
School of Continuing Education. And it was a year where there were a lot of protests on campus, and it was really a wild time. So I lived in a studio apartment on St. Mark's Place. And one summer, there were 13 of us crashing in a 13 by 12 apartment, one room apartment. 13 of us. So when I got to go to NYU to work, it was like I could breathe and have a little space at my desk and stuff, because I go, oh God, I'm back at work and at school, you know. So I worked there to kind of pay my way.
Very nice.
That was an experience. I met some really incredible people.
So, since it's that time of year, let's start off with The Hills Have Eyes.
Okay.
What did you make of that script when you first got it? Because Wes Craven wasn't Wes Craven at that point.
It wasn't even called The Hills Have Eyes, you know, it was called Blood Relations. And so, you know, and so I just went, oh my God. But I did know that he had already directed one movie that had a little bit of success, with Last House on the Left, right? And
Yep.
and it had a little bit of a reputation. And I was so, I hate to say this because I should just slap my own face, but I was so tired of doing sitcoms, and I really wanted to do a real film. And this was an opportunity to break out in a real film starring me, you know, Susan Lanier, and and my agent said, no, you're not going to do a horror movie. It'll ruin your career. And I just went, well, I am going to do it because I really like Wes and he has one hit. And I just want to star in one movie, and you haven't gotten me any big movies to star in. And so I'm going to do this. And I have no regrets. The Hills Have Eyes is a gift that just keeps on giving. You know, I met my husband through doing it. He had seen me in it, and then the rest is history. You know, it just making that one move on that 1 3 or 4 week shoot we did in Victorville in the desert molded many of the events that made me, you know, made major life decisions for me. And so you never know, you know, I don't know what would happen if I hadn't done it. You know, maybe I would have had a bigger career, and maybe it was right. Nobody took me seriously after that. I don't know. But I fell in love through The Hills Have Eyes. I fell in love, and really didn't care so much about acting as I had when I was younger.
So that was the right decision for sure then.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I married a fabulous, famous rock star named Delaney Bramlett, and we made music, and you know, I had a real life, and I hadn't ever really had that. And so there were kids, and I had a son, and he had a couple of daughters, and we, you know, it was just one big happy fun kind of family, you know. So I don't know, I think I'm in touch with a lot of the actresses. It's hard to figure out what to call it these days, that were in my era. And some are terribly unhappy, and because they gave it all to the career, and maybe, you know, the career will betray you one day if you're not Meryl Streep. You know, everybody gets dumped at some point, you know. So I sort of dumped it before it dumped me.
It's always good to break up first.
I'm gonna break up with you first.
Yes. Words to live by.
Everybody gets dumped, baby, and nobody escapes that one. So,
When you said you took The Hills Have Eyes because you wanted to do something that was a movie that had this that was a big deal. It,
Mhm.
and then you're shooting 16 millimeter in the desert. Uh, Did you ever just look around and be like, what was I thinking? Or was it just everybody was, because I know the crew wasn't nuts about the project for a while. And then suddenly somebody figured out that Wes knew what he was doing and this was going to be really something.
I don't think anybody thought that it would really be something at the time that we were shooting it, but he did hire the cameraman, Eric Sarensen, I think is his name, Saarinen. He was good, and it just felt comfortable being with Dee and Michael Behrman, and Janice. We all got along, and we're still all really good friends. I talk to Michael Behrman probably once a week, you know, and he's now moved to Florida, but he was living in LA with his wife Patty, and we would do Thanksgiving and Christmas together. So that, so I mean, it became, and Dee lives very close to me, and we all keep coming back.
Yeah, it doesn't go away.
What
Mm-mm.
what do you think it is about that cast and that group of you that has kept you connected for all these years?
Well, it didn't hurt that we get invited to a few conventions together
Sure.
with all of us. So then we get together and we catch up and we see each other. I hadn't seen Martin Spears in years, or Janice, until a couple of years ago. And we all hooked up we were all booked on the same convention. And that was fun.
I mean, how much acting are you really doing in that? Because you were out in the middle of the desert, you're in an environment that will definitely kill you if you aren't careful.
In the daytime, it was really, really hot, so all that was correct, and at the night, it was cold, and, the night shoots, we were pretty cold outside. It was pretty rugged. I came back to LA just covered in bruises. So, I bruised and scratched and everything that you can see in the movie that I went through. Some of that
Right.
was I didn't have anybody doing my stunts, I did all that myself.
Well, and people always talk about the uncomfortableness of filming a love scene, and I'm assuming the assault that you filmed in this film, I mean, that must have been at best uncomfortable.
Oh.
The rape scene was the first scene that he shot. That
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he wanted to get it over with.
Yeah, that's so I'm
Mm,
like, "Yep, just rip
yeah.
that Band-Aid right off.
So
Knock
let's
that
just
out."
get right to it. Let's see how good they are, or whatever.
Yep.
If it's not gonna work, we'll fire her. No, I'm
Oh, no.
kidding. But, so Michael was very uncomfortable with it because we were strangers. He wasn't like a brother then.
Right.
And, uh he was shaking and he was nervous. And so I'd done a movie before in Texas, but and a couple of independent things in New York. But they didn't really, I mostly had been doing TV, but I'd done a lot of television. And that is even harder, I think, to do TV than movies. But because I mean, it's fast and you got to learn it fast and move fast. So I said, Michael, come here. And I said, when Wes calls action, and I think it was Peter Locke who pulled the curtain back. I'm not sure,
Mhm.
but anyway, because Wes was behind the camera, I said, let's be making out, let's let's French kiss. Like, let's really be into it, okay? And so he said, "Oh, can we do that?" And I said, "Sure. Let's just really go for it, and get a laugh." And so when Peter Locke pulls it back, and he goes, "Action!" Pull back, and there we are, passionately making out. And yeah, it wasted some film, and it maybe wasted a few bucks, but it broke the ice for Michael and for me and for everybody, and really for Wes. He couldn't stop thanking me for doing that. So,
Yeah.
so it after that, I think we all relaxed, and
Mhm.
and and we really became a unit out there.
I mean, David Mamet always refers to it as movie camp. That you
Yeah.
go away, you have these incredibly intense experiences, and then you don't see each other again. So it's great that you guys have been able to keep up and sort of continue that friendship that you had in this, because it feels like you're going to war in some ways when you're out on a low budget shoot like that.
Yeah, it's the first time I hadn't had my own dressing room in a while, and
That's a wake-up call.
and I went, maybe TV's not so bad. Every single year around Halloween, The Hills Have Eyes comes back to keep me plenty busy, you know?
When it was a film too that didn't get a great response when it first came out,
Mhm.
but you see critics now reappraising it and speaking very highly of it. What's it been like for you to see this over the years? People, sort of these quote unquote tastemakers and these, film experts going, "Oh wait, no, there's really something interesting here."
I'm really grateful that it was that it's been appreciated because, I don't think anybody thought that it would end up the way it did. It was put into the Museum of Modern Art, I think, a permanent collection as the greatest terror, not horror, terror classic ever made. So maybe it wasn't as bad as, I used to be a little bit embarrassed, and then when it became, well, I mean, I was always grateful for it, because
Mhm.
of meeting Delaney and ending up with a life with the man I loved. So, but I'm stunned that at this age, it's still popular.
Mhm.
Oh, it's so beloved. It's
Oh,
so beloved. It's amazing. It's crazy, and I don't know, it just has to be so almost surreal to keep reliving it and seeing people just worshiping this crazy film into these days.
So you mentioned that you met Delaney because of The Hills Have Eyes?
yeah. After it was released, and I was working, I don't know, I had a couple of shows after that on television and then I think I was doing some more movies of the week. But anyway, I had a shoot, and my girlfriend's husband was Delaney's trumpet player, and he was playing at the Starwood, which is was a nightclub in Hollywood. And so she said, "Let's go hear Delaney sing." And I said, "Oh no, I got to work tomorrow. I'm too tired. Forget it. I'm not. I don't even. I don't even know what kind of music. I mean, I've seen him, but I don't even know if I like that kind of music that much." So, um, so she said, "Man, you're no fun anymore. All you do is work. It used to be so much fun." And I said, "All right, but I'm not going to stay long. As long as we can leave because I got to shoot tomorrow." Well, I was young, and I could go to a nightclub and have a few drinks and then
Right.
still look good the next day. I can't do that anymore.
Me either. I wish I could.
Yeah, I pulled it off. I mean, with a little help from a few friends. But anyway, um, so we went to the club and we had to go up towards the stage so she could yell at her husband to say, "We're here." And so she goes, "Daryl, we're here." And Delaney looks down and he sees me, and he's in the middle of a song. Because we're in the light and he can see me. And so he takes the guitar off and he says, "Keep playing, boys." And he gets down off the stage and he comes up to me. He said, "Give me your phone number. I'm going to marry you." And I went, "Are you nuts? I have a boyfriend." And he goes, "I don't give a shit." So he sold him my phone number. I finally went, "Well, if he wants it that bad, all right." And I see what happened. So I gave him my phone number, and he was over at my house a few days later, and that was just about it.
Love it.
I fell immediately in love.
I mean, that's how it's done, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you just never know. No one knows what move you're gonna make that changes your entire life. We think every day is predictable. You just never know what will change your entire life and mold everything around it.
So with those decisions and those crossroads you hit at various stages of your life, what was it that drew you to acting in the first place?
I used to watch Miss America. It was a big deal in Dallas, Texas when I was growing up. And I was short and not that cute and thick glasses. And, that was an unreachable goal for me. That was not anything I could imagine ever happening. Um, but when the shows would come on, my brother and sister would be in front of the TV, and my mom, and sometimes my dad, and I would make fun of the girls, and I could get them all really laughing. And that was very powerful to me to stand in front of the TV and act out what they were doing and get a response from my family. That would be just my sister particularly would just laugh till she would wet her pants, you know. And so I thought, well, that's pretty cool, man. I can move these people with just doing things and acting silly. And so then there was when I was 13, there was a play that was there were this man was holding auditions in a park, and I was walking across the park, and went over to investigate, and I said, what are you doing? And they said, we're having auditions for Winnie the Littlest Witch. And it was I said, well, I'd like to audition. And he let me audition, and I got the part of Winnie. And I
Yay.
Oh.
and at 13, and I won a big award that summer in the park and recreation thing of Dallas. And then I knew that I had this taste, and I really just loved it, you know. And all the kids at school, a lot of them thought I was weird. And then Morgan Fairchild went to the same high school, so we joined a theater company in Dallas when we were still in school with Bill Bickley and some other people, and William S. Bickley, who was one of the creators of Happy Days. And so the three of us went to school together, and my mother would not let me go to rehearsal, but Morgan's mother would take me, and Morgan would pick me up. We lived in the same neighborhood, and her mother would take me to the rehearsals. Her mother really encouraged me a lot, you know, even after I was an adult. And so Morgan and I are very close. She's one of my very dearest friends. I just got a taste. I was in a professional theater. So that's why I went to New York. I never thought I could do movies or anything. I was just going to go to New York and do theater. That's all I wanted to do. And I did a lot of theater. But I was doing a play with Pat Paulson, and he was represented by CAA or ICM, ICM, and they. I was getting a lot of really good reviews doing Last of the Red Hot Lovers with Pat Paulson on the and so the agent there came and saw the show, and then he approached me and said, "Why don't you move to LA? We'll rep you." And so I got to start off in LA with the most powerful agency. So that did not hurt anything, you know.
No. It's fascinating how much synchronicity there is in all of this, just things
Yeah.
lining up. Were you also a singer? Were you a musician as well, or was that later on?
You know, I always my favorite grandpa was he could play the piano by ear. He was not he didn't, I don't know if he even went past the 4th grade or whatever, but he had a piano on his porch, and when we would go visit my mother's relatives in East Texas, he would sit on this piano, and I could sit there and just listen to this soulful gospel music. And he knew all of Elvis Presley's songs, and gospel, lots of gospel and blues. Everybody would gather. There was no TV. He didn't have a TV. We had television in Dallas, but we all the neighbors would come with their instruments. And I have to say, I guess those are my fondest memories of my childhood, is sitting on the porch and watching my grandfather. Well, I've been into musicians ever since, you know.
When you look back on all the incredible things you've done so far in your career, is there anything that stands out as the most pivotal of things so far?
I don't think I would have been offered, everything led to the next thing, but I don't think I would have been offered The Hills Have Eyes if I hadn't been John Travolta's girlfriend on Welcome Back, Kotter. And I got a lot of attention from that.
Yeah.
And from there, I was already starring at the Amundsen Theater here in LA. That's how I got the Welcome Back, Kotter job. Is the casting director had gone to see Night of the Iguana with me and Richard Chamberlain, Raymond Massey,
Gosh.
Eleanor Parker, and Dorothy McGuire.
Huh.
And um, It was an amazing experience. I got to hang out a lot with Rudolph Nureyev and some of Richard Chamberlain's friends. And Richard and I would go to a lot of parties together. We just instantly bonded, and I hardly knew anybody in LA. So he was one of my first friends here, and that was because I was in the play. Um, and so that might have been the most pivotal thing that started it all, because I got Welcome Back Potter from that play, and then the rest, once that aired, the rest just kind of fell into place.
When you think of, when you first of all, I feel like when you meet people now, are your friends these days just not nearly as interesting as friends before? How do people keep up?
Mm. I'm still friends. I talked to Morgan Fairchild a couple of days ago, and she's very into politics, and we're very connected. Um, I do find that, like, I mean, in the day, Phil Everly said, "Would you write with me?" And so I wrote music with Phil Everly, and so and went on the road with the Everly Brothers for a short time, and so nothing is as much fun as all that was, you know that. But I guess COVID, I try to make the best of whatever the situation is. And I'm writing this book, and it's very intense and it's very edgy, and it's about New York City. It's only 6 months of my life in 1967 in New York City, and it's very, very dark. And so I'm really enjoying the process of putting. Now, I don't know if I'm a good writer or not, but I have been given a few compliments, and people are waiting for this book. And so um, I I think it's a really good time to be a writer in COVID.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
singing somewhere. You
Yeah.
know, I do miss being in a good bar, listening to great music, whether it's me or my son might be playing or my friends are playing. I still enjoy that. But they closed the big music venue near my house because of COVID. I don't know if it'll open up again, and I think that makes me the saddest is missing live music. I tell people, well, there's one great thing about being old. I think that I was blessed to be born in the most cool generation,
Yes.
and had sex, drugs, and penicillin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I would agree.
There
I
was no COVID, and we could let it all hang out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and for those of us who survived it, we had a lot of fun. My dad, before he died, he said he was he was in World War II, and he I think he had PTSD from that experience, and the last thing he said to me was, "You better party your fucking ass off."
For more information, you can follow Suze on Twitter, where she's at Suze Lanier.
You can follow us on all the various socials. Our website is whythepodcast.com and has all sorts of additional stories and videos. It's also where you can sign up for our newsletter. We're also on YouTube if you're into that kind of thing. And don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes, because if you don't, we'll call your mother and tell her that she's completely right. You would look so much prettier if you smiled more.
Why the Podcast is part of Mudhouse Media. Today's show was produced by myself and Heidi Hegquist. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our graphic designer is Samantha Mustonen. The theme song was performed by the Electrosynth-O-Magnetic Polyphonic Orchestra. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?